Welcome to the Ochsner Administrative Fellowship Talent Talk. Today is HRNIS. My name is Jonathan. I am the director of Ochsner's Career Center. Joining me today is a panelist of experts who will be discussing various topics related to our Administrative Fellowship program that we offer at Ochsner every year. Before I get started, I wanted to take a moment to allow everyone the opportunity to introduce themselves. First, starting with Faye, then Ashley, Missy, Reginald, and Samantha.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this information session this afternoon on HRNIS. Jonathan, thank you so much for hosting us tonight. My name is Faye Campo. I am the manager of Ochsner's Administrative Fellowship program. And again, thank you for joining us.
Hi, my name is Ashley Weber. I am the director of clinical systems here at Ochsner. I'm also a former fellow, and I've been at Ochsner for 13 years now.
And I'm Missy Sparks, Vice President for Talent Management at Ochsner, and I've been here for close to 11 years and looking forward to joining the conversation tonight.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Reggie Darby. I'm currently one of the IES fellows for this year. I'm currently at Benson Tower, and obviously I haven't been there for so many years. So I've only been here for a few months, so this is a learning curve for me.
Samantha, you can introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, good evening. My name is Samantha Booker Bienemy. I am one of the Human Resources Fellows based at OMC on Jefferson Highway. I'm just excited to be here with everybody.
Thank you for that. For everyone in the audience, if you have questions throughout the Talent Talk, please be sure to share them in the Q&A tab or connect with us on Facebook as we are streaming live. And at the end, we will try to answer all of your questions. So let's get started. Reggie, first with you. What made you pursue or decide to pursue the IS Fellowship at Ochsner?
Well, one of the things was really on my mind when I was getting close to graduating from my graduate school was that I needed some kind of professional growth and leadership skills. Obviously, prior to the fellowship, I didn't really have an opportunity to experience those particular things. So when I researched the IS Fellowship at Ochsner, I realized that they also have an opportunity for me to apply my technical skills, my professional experience, and also a lot of my academic training in an organization and overall industry that needs continuous improvement. And that's pretty much when I had that eureka moment, when I realized that leadership and mentorship is kind of like the fundamental components of the fellowship program. And obviously, those are the things I really needed to be successful in my pursuit and growing myself as a leader. And so the fellowship offers an opportunity to really collaborate with senior executives, senior level personnel within the organization. That lets me build rapport, learn how to communicate on a broader scale, not just to people solely in my particular field, and also opportunity to kind of build my network of professionals. And so that was the main reason why I pursued the IS Fellowship here at Ochsner.
That's some good stuff, Reggie. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm anxious to hear more about it as we continue. Samantha, the same question to you. What made you decide to pursue the HR Fellowship at Ochsner?
So of course, like Reggie, definitely wanted and saw the opportunity for extreme professional growth. But more than anything, I chose Ochsner because I felt like the organizational values aligned very well with my own. And that's probably one of the most important factors to me when it comes to decision making, especially with future opportunities.
Samantha, I'd like to stay right here with you if that's okay. Could you share with us what is the typical day in the life of an Ochsner Fellow?
Sure. So there really is no typical day, which is what I enjoy about it. Each day is something different. But if I had to describe a pretty normal day, so it usually starts for us around 8 a.m. Usually after that, around 9, you'll have a morning huddle. And depending on what projects you are working on currently, or if you don't have any projects, which I doubt, you'll need to prioritize your day based on that and answer any immediate needs that your rotational team may have for you. The day usually ends, on a normal day, it ends around 5. But yeah, like I said, there's no typical day. It's ever changing, ever growing. So it's really exciting to be here.
It sounds like it's an exciting day just to know that every day is going to be different. Every day you're going to experience something new, something different that's going to add to your professional tool belt. So I think that that's phenomenal. But I did want to bring in at this moment, Ashley, to talk about one of the most important facets of the Ochsner Fellowship, Administrative Fellowship. Ashley, could you tell us what the role of a preceptor looks like?
Sorry about that. Absolutely. As a preceptor, you spend a lot of time with your fellows. You want to make sure that you give them the opportunity to see what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Also, making sure that you're checking in with them regularly to understand where their interests lie. Really giving them the opportunity to see, particularly in whatever concentration that they're in, give them the opportunity to see the broad array of different things that actually happen in healthcare. I think particularly in IS, I can speak to this, that often people think of IS as widgets and technical pieces, but there's a lot of components that we touch, from operational leadership workflows all the way to understanding how you check into your job on a day-to-day basis. So we work across all facets of the institution and really helping our fellows understand the vast opportunities that they have in leadership over the time that they're here as a fellow.
Sounds amazing. But I'm curious, and I would like to ask Missy and bring Missy on board, who serves as VP for Talent Management. Missy, what type of candidate are you looking for an HR fellow?
That's such a wonderful question, Jonathan, and I'm grateful that we have a number of individuals who are listening to this talk today who might have an interest in the HR concentration like Sam does. And I begin by saying we're in the people business. So what I'm looking for an HR candidate is a values-based individual who is really keen to build relationships. So much of our work is done through and with other people, that I really think that is something that I prioritize. They have to have excellent listening skills, and that we're listening for how can we make work a more human place, a place that when we come in the morning, we feel energized, and we feel energized when we leave in the afternoon and we're not depleted. I look for somebody with a versatile skill set. Both Reggie and Samantha kind of mentioned that the day-to-day work of a fellow, it varies. You get to explore a lot of different facets of what it is to work in a large not-for-profit healthcare organization. And that versatile skill set gives you the agility to apply things in new ways, from project management, change management, communications, those things we want. I want somebody, though, who is also hungry, humble, and smart. Hungry,
I
they
like that
want to
combination.
succeed. Yeah, you want to succeed. You want to see somebody who knows what a win looks like and they're going for it, but they're humble. They're not going for that win at the expense of somebody else. They see that they're on a team, and they see value in every individual who works with them. And they're smart. They've got a can-do attitude, and they're capable of getting the work done, because some of the work we do is hard. Some of it's not easy, and it takes flexibility in the moment. So I want somebody who's capable of working and learning at a quick pace. And to Ashley's point, they understand the importance of having a mentor and a preceptor who can help to accelerate that growth and that learning. So they're open to learning. And that takes somebody who has a level of humility, who says, there's still things I don't know, and I'm coming in to learn and to absorb as much as I can.
Thank you for sharing that, Missy. I think the Administrative Fellowship Program really gives students an opportunity to really grow. I think Reggie really mentioned that in terms of growing their leadership. Ashley, I'll turn to you with the same question. For IS, what type of candidate are you looking for?
So I think Missy may have stolen most of my answer. No, it's okay. Actually, she made a really good point that we are in the people business, whether you are working in IS or HR or in operations. It's really important to understand that we are all here to take care of our patients in our community. And I'm looking for candidates that are interested in bettering the community as a whole, and that they can show that as part of their work. I'm also looking for someone who is also humble, hungry, and smart, but really a go-getter, someone who is interested and shows their interest, that says, hi, I heard this project is happening. I would love to get in at the ground level or at any component at any time, and really interested in digging their feet in and getting their hands dirty, because oftentimes as leaders, we don't get to just sit behind our desks and make decisions. We often have to get in there and be role models to our employees. And so that's something that I'm looking for, someone who's willing to jump in and really show us what they've got.
That is good stuff. So being a self-starter is definitely a key component here. I would like to turn to Reggie for a moment and ask Reggie, can you share with us some specific training that you've been provided or offered during your time as a fellow?
So some of the training that's broadly offered for both the actual concentrations starts off with the Ochsner Learning Institute. It's pretty much the whole department, staff with faculty, that's dedicated to empowering a lot of our leadership and staff members, providing us essentially kind of a leadership toolkit, whether that be computer-based training or even simulated events where we have actors come in and present certain challenging situations that leaders go through. That could be a hiring process, or it could be a disciplinary process, but things that most leaders, and sometimes for my example for myself, and I'm sure many other fellows, this may be our first time stepping into a leadership role. And so that training is definitely very useful for someone like me who may not have been exposed to some of the different practices. Now, when you're talking about particularly IS training for that particular concentration, there is a project or EPIC certifications that you can actually kind of apply for and get exposure to. In regards to HR, I know there's the Cron Ferry competencies, which kind of goes over the different 8 behavioral competencies of leadership styles. Those are for our HR fellows. And then lastly, one of the biggest programs, the most popular one, is kind of our Lean Six Sigma, which kind of covers process improvement across the board. Obviously, that can be utilized in IS, HR, and a whole different faculties throughout the organization. So those are some of the different type of training that we've been exposed to here at the fellowship program right now.
Reggie, I just want to make sure that I'm clear that our listeners are hearing this. Are you saying that you will get specific training in EPIC, that you will also get Lean Six Sigma, as well as the Korn Ferry 360 leadership competencies?
You want it, you got it. We can get
That
it.
is, that is fantastic. That is the foundation for leadership growth. That is amazing. Again, I am a huge fan. I want to shift to Samantha or Sam to ask this question of you. Can you describe for us a project that you've been assigned during your time in the fellowship program, specifically as it relates to COVID or in the hurricane that we just recently went through?
Sure. And I kind of go back to my first response on this about why I chose Ochsner. I think just the couple of projects that I've been involved in around COVID-19 and the hurricane really exemplifies the type of values that Ochsner holds near and dear. One example for the hurricane, I was involved in the Employee Assistance Fund project and also the housing project. which, Ochsner did an amazing job with making sure that our employees were taken care of and, helping in any ways they could with housing displaced employees, making sure that they had the ability to get to work and making sure that they had the ability to have a safe roof over their heads. And I thought that was amazing. And it was amazing to be involved in that. And also with COVID-19, I was involved in the reassignment process or redeployment of Ochsner employees to different units within the hospital to assist with the COVID patients. And honestly, it was just really inspiring to see the amount of physicians and nurses that were willing to go in and just, get started and help with in whatever way that they could. And it was just really amazing to see that happen.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I would say you and I were teammates on those projects. I can share with you that the Career Center was a large part of both redeployment and the Hurricane Ida resource line. So although we didn't get to work together, all things worked for the good of Ochsner. So we were able to be teammates. So kudos to you, because that was some incredible work that we did. So I really want to say thank you for that. I want to stay and shift, just stay where we are with Reggie. Reggie, same question for you. Could you share with us a little bit about any project that you've been assigned during your time here, specifically as it relates to COVID or even Hurricane Ida?
So specifically, along with some of those projects that Samantha mentioned, helping out with hotel accommodations and employee recovery funds with Ochsner, one of the most curious projects is working with some of the what they call WOW systems, which is the workstation on wheels, and kind of helping employees get those mobilized for some of our COVID planning sites that we're planning for testing and helping operating. Getting those machines updated with the correct configurations and the policy updates for those particular machines was pretty important, and planning for that surge that we recently had right before August. And so that was a pretty cool project, pretty amazing seeing the scope of how IS essentially kind of implements on a rapidly quick scale, being able to deploy those devices, get those devices updated and configured, and also utilized in a very, very strategic and quick manner. Because as you know, COVID was surging pretty much, and it's hard to have those particular tents staffed and fully furnished with different employees. Obviously, we don't want to endanger any more employees by contracting the virus. So those particular devices became very important in limiting the spread, protecting our own employees, while also being able to provide the most critical care to our community and our patients here in Louisiana. So that was one of the best projects I enjoyed.
Reggie, thank you so much for sharing that. And again, thank you for the hard work that you did on those projects. That was some pretty interesting stuff, and that was very detailed. Thank you so much. I want to ask Ashley, that is a former fellow, could you share with us some projects that you worked on during your time in the fellowship program and how those programs or those projects have helped shape you where you are today?
Absolutely. So it's interesting that you asked that question. It's been a long time since I was a fellow, so I'll have to dig back in my memory, but some of my favorite projects were specific to, one, I had the opportunity to work on our mission and vision. I helped the executive team and our board come up with the appropriate verbiage to then implement and deploy out our new mission and vision. I guess that was around 2009. So something that we live by today. I feel very strongly and very proud to be part of that team. That was a very big project for me, and something that I feel helped shape me, because I really can live by those words. I understand what they mean to the organization and what they mean to me. And it's really helpful for me to, and it was just a really wonderful experience to be able to be part of that, showing what the organization really believes in to its core. Another project that I worked on was actually some of the due diligence that we did for our North Shore Hospital. So that was a really big project for me as well. Really understanding what it takes to do an acquisition, complete an acquisition as part of that team, lots of reading, lots of late nights, but totally worth it. And it helps me understand as an organization how we believe in growth and our ability to take care of bring our standardization across different institutions in the region, and show our best of breed policies. So those are two, I think, that I'd love to highlight because they help me in my job today, because I'm often on the front end of us doing either acquisitions or partnerships, particularly in IS. So we spend a lot of time working with different institutions on their acclimation into the Ochsner world. So really helpful to have had that experience, because now I'm able to take that, my learning from that, and transfer it to what I do today.
Great example. Thank you so much. It seems as though being a self-starter is key component of being a fellow, and you really used that to springboard you to where you are today and still using those tools. So that's really exciting stuff. Again, the fellowship program is amazing in terms of building leadership. I want to stay with Ashley. And Ashley, could you share with us what are some of the benefits that you would say would come to a fellow for participating in this program?
So I would say that as a fellow, you build relationships with some of our senior executives. I think Samantha and Reggie both mentioned that already. It's really important to have those relationships. Also, you have the ability to showcase some of your skill sets. And when it's time for you to look for a new position, once your fellowship is over, you have a group of people who are very influential in the organization, who know your breadth of work and understand your opportunities, but also your strengths, and they're committed to making you successful. So I think that that's something that's also very helpful. But then also, I've made lifelong friends out of the fellowship. I have some of my closest friends that are near and dear to me are former fellows, and we stay very close. We talk all the time. And that's something else to be said, is that we really are a community. We aren't just a group of people that work together. We work close together, but we also are able to create bonds that last forever.
Listen, I could say, I'm sure for some others that are viewing us tonight, sign me up. I am so ready. This is phenomenal. And I would turn to Reggie to ask us and share with us, Reggie, what is the application process? Who qualifies? How do we apply?
So the application process is pretty simple. So first I'm going to talk about who qualifies, particularly with the HR fellowship. We're looking for graduates who are preferred candidates who are recently either in possession or going to be graduating soon, that have either a master's of business administration with an HR focus or HR concentration, a master's in human resource management, and also, let's see, as well as just as generally HR graduate degree. For the IS fellowship, the qualifications are an MBA, or a Master's of Business Administration, a Master's of Public Health, and also a Master's of Computer Science. Also, as far as the profile for the administration deadline, it is September 26th, which is this Sunday. So we do ask that you take some urgency in applying. Now, you will have to put all the information into one PDF form. We do have a little bit more instructions on that. You can do that free on different websites, but a list of the information is required here, showing that you need a cover sheet, your resume or CV, 3 letters of recommendation, along with a professional statement. Those professional statements has questions that you need to answer, and also your unofficial graduate transcript. We will be asking for your transcript by the deadline. We will need the official one upon hiring, so keep that in mind. And again, the deadline is September 26th. So we do want to remind you that that is coming soon.
Thank you for that. Samantha, could you tell us what the interview process is like for the fellowship program?
So sorry. I muted
Okay.
myself. Sorry. So the interview process is 3 parts. So first, there will be a virtual interview held on November the 11th, on-site interview on November the 17th for HR, and the IS interview is the 22nd for the virtual interview and December 6th for the on-site interview.
Got it. Thank you. And Missy, could you describe the culture of the fellowship program and Ochsner?
I will try. I think Ashley actually captured it very well in her last statement. I would capture the fellowship as supportive growth. That is the culture where there's tremendous opportunity provided to our fellows. They get to take on projects such as Ashley mentioned, getting to work on the mission and the vision for the organization. These are weighty projects. They have meaning to the overall organization, and it's not just here's a simple task, go and do it. You're actually given some projects that you can really become known by. And that is, the support is there to help you succeed. And then once you have shown your success in there, it opens new doors for you in the organization. I do believe that our fellows, we're very well connected. Ashley mentioned she was in the fellowship 13 years ago. Work extends. Our fellowship has been in existence now for 50 years. So there are fellows all the way upwards of our CEO, COO, our chief executive officers throughout the organization, directors, managers, senior consultants. There's always a fellow in every area, every discipline you're looking to. And our fellows help one another out. It is a bond that transcends time. So certainly a place where when you come, you develop a close cohort, but you're also going to be plugged into previous fellowship cohorts, and that just opens new opportunities. So supportive growth. Our
Thank you
culture,
for that.
values driven. So certainly a place where we try to say who comes on the team, people who also want to put patients first, individuals who really want to think through how their work affects a community and makes it healthier, makes it better. So that is the team that you would be joining as a fellow, is a place where you can come and work a mission to save and change lives. And that's really what we want in other teammates coming in, is helping us to do the good work that needs to be done to change outcomes for everybody.
Thank you. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Thank each of you. Now I think it's time to get some of those questions answered from the audience. I would like to again remind our audience to please submit your questions in the Q&A tab or connect with us on Facebook as we are live streaming and ask your questions there. We already have some great questions, and I'm really interested to hear the answers to this. For Reggie and Sam, what are some experiences that prepared you for the fellowship program?
Well, I have an IT background, but that doesn't generally prepare me for what I was going to be dealing with here at Ochsner. I would say more so having teamwork, learning to work with a team definitely helped me. Going over challenging projects, even though I didn't have that leadership experience from previous experiences before I came over to the fellowship program, I did have opportunities to lead small projects and groups. And that really kind of helped me to find out how to communicate, learning my particular communication skill. And like I said, most importantly, teamwork. Because as you learn, as everybody can hear, can be a witness to, teamwork is kind of the main thing, the main glue that keeps this organization going and operating. It's how we communicate, it's how we be able to respond quickly and rapidly to different emergencies and responses, and also being able to provide, again, the continuous care to the patient. Everybody's firing all cylinders, communicating, and working as a team. Any experience like that will definitely prepare you for this particular fellowship program.
Sam, did you want to add anything?
Yeah. Definitely what prepared me was of course, my professional experience in HR, I had an opportunity to do an internship that I feel like really grounded my overall knowledge in the HR field. However, I do think my time getting my MBA at Southern University, I was provided a lot of opportunities to do a lot of community-based projects. And so I think that that experience really helped me and molded me to have like that patience first mindset that Reggie was mentioning. And I think that's a lot of what Ochsner embodies here.
Thank you for that. So either Ashley, Reggie, or Sam, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of a fellow?
I can answer this one knowing when to when to say no, because you can get in the habit of caring about everything. And you know, like Ashley stated too, we're all a close-knit group. We all share projects. Reggie and I have worked numerous times on the same project, and we all try to help each other out. And sometimes, you know, you have to know what you have the capacity to really perform in. So I think that's the most challenging thing, because here at Ochsner, it's easy to get caught up in caring about everything and everybody.
Reggie or Ashley, did you want to add to that?
I did want to add one thing. One thing that we're all learning throughout this experience is the fellowship essentially has your hands on the horns, the bullhorn. And so you're trying to drive the show. It's not necessarily a neat program outline or schedule that you're going to be following every single day. So if you have an interest or you have a passion, your preceptors and your mentors will help guide you to that particular passion so you can land exactly where you want to be. So that's it. The most challenging is, being able to learn how to reach out and express that, your interests, your passions. Don't be nervous and scared. Like I said, they want you to be successful, and they also want you to be successful in the best capacity, because that's going to be helpful, again, for our patients at the end of the day.
And lastly, Ashley, did you want to add anything?
No, I think these guys did a really good job kind of summing up some really important things about being a fellow and what makes it really challenging. I would say that for me, one of the more challenging things that I experienced was feeling comfortable being able to express when I was a fellow, not anymore, I guess, but when I was a fellow, expressing my opinions to the executive team, because they really do care what you think. That's something that I think is really important, that you spend time getting to know them. And that was something that it took me a little bit of time to realize that they're interested in what you bring to the table, because you are a fresh face. You haven't been here a lot. You can offer new perspectives. So that's very important. And that was something that was challenging for me to become more comfortable with.
Thank you. Missy, I think this is a good question for you. Are there any special initiatives in the Human Resources Department as it relates to Ochsner's move toward expanding the telehealth across all 50 states? If so, how might fellows support the growing digital medicine model?
Well, great question. There are, one of the things, we're already 32,000 strong, but as you can imagine, when we started in COVID, there was a recognition that we were really going to hire more of a remote workforce. As you think through telehealth, that's the opportunity to hire team members who maybe aren't in Louisiana. That also comes with, how do you lead people who, maybe my team is now in 5 different states? How do I, as a leader, make sure that the same qualities of in-person leadership, of connectivity, of that human connection with a team, translate in a remote virtual world? How do we do that well? So there's leadership development activities around, how do we lead remote teams? How do we hire remote teams and recruit individuals who are going to represent our organization wherever on the globe they may be? That's a change for us. How do we partner with Ashley Weber and IT to make sure that we have the appropriate tools and technology for those team members, and how are we orienting them in a way that helps them to succeed? Those are some of the things related to our movement toward a virtual digital space.
Thank you. Faye, this may be a very good question for you. One of the candidates is asking, I have currently become an MBA student this fall. Am I eligible for the fellowship program? The reason for asking is because I am applying, but I've not yet started graduate school.
Thank you so much for that question, Jonathan, for sharing that with me. You must have completed your didactic portion of your graduate program in order to qualify. All fellows will be starting July 2022, so they must have their master's completed, or if their school requires them to complete a fellowship program, they can apply this during this open enrollment for applications.
Got it. So there's a couple other questions that I would love for us to answer and be willing to help our interested participants. Is the fellowship a paid opportunity?
It is paid, full-time position. It includes benefits as well. Ochsner has some really great benefits. Fellows also are provided a stipend for continued education, to attend a conference for continued education. But yeah, it's fully paid, salaried, full-time.
And Faye, could you give a little more detail on the timeline of the hiring process?
Absolutely, thank you. So applications are due, as Reggie mentioned earlier, this Sunday, September 26th. All applications should be submitted through the email address in which concentration the candidate is interested in. And that can also, all this information can also be found on our Ochsner Administrative Fellowship webpage. The timeline would be, because we have so many concentrations, we have 7, which we're very proud of. As Missy alluded to earlier, that it's our 50th year for our operations, and it's worked so well, and the commitment from our executive leaders, as well as our alum base of fellows that continue to mentor, our fellows that come on. So each one is, the dates are kind of staggered for the applications, from the application submittal to on-site interviews. But we should be completed and offers all out by December. And then fellows will start, I want to say July 11th, but don't hold me to that, July 2022.
Okay. And can you share with the participants, how is the location determined where fellows will work?
Great question. So in the submittals of the applications, we are asking candidates specifically for operations, because for operations, we have several regions that are available that are hiring a fellow for 2022. And so we're asking on the cover sheet, which is also available on our website, that also needs to be included in the packet, application packet. And we're asking for the top 3 locations that they're interested in. And what I want to elaborate, Jonathan, on that as well is, we take those requests very seriously. So we want to really hear from the candidate that is where they want to relocate to. And we are offering, so in reference to compensation, we are offering fellows a sign-on bonus that will cover their relocation expenses as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. But we have Meridian, Mississippi. We have Monroe. We have Lafayette. We have Baton Rouge. We have North Shore, which is a part of our New Orleans hire as well. And then we have New Orleans. Some of our facilities are Baptist, and also the West Bank, which is not that far from our main campus.
Another question is, can you participate in a fellowship program without giving up the position you're already in at Ochsner?
No, unfortunately, you cannot, because it is about learning. It's really immersing yourself in this full-time position, and to give you the opportunity to learn and grow.
Another question is, I will graduate in July of 2022. Can I apply?
as long as they are graduating before the July start date.
And which locations will the on-site interviews be?
They will actually be held in the regions in which they've chosen to apply to.
And how many fellows are we expecting to hire?
Well, I wish I could answer that. Which is a great thing about Ochsner. If we see, an enormous amount of outstanding candidates, there's always opportunities here. So I wish I could give you a number. I will just say last year, for all of our concentrations total, we hired 20 fellows, and that's for including all concentrations. So, and I want to say that without scaring anyone, Jonathan, because some people really feel they may want to be the only fellow. But I'll tell you the one thing that makes Ochsner's Fellowship so successful, and I think Samantha and Reggie alluded to this earlier, is you have that camaraderie. So if you need some finance guidance, we have a finance fellow. If you are given a project that you are not familiar with a certain, skill set, you have a fellow in your cohort to really help you navigate that strength. And that's what I really think has made Ochsner's Fellowship program so successful.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. There's one final question. I will leave that question for Reggie, Samantha, or Ashley. What has been the most rewarding experience during your time in the fellowship program?
Well, I'll go ahead and take a first bite at this. Particularly, one of the most rewarding experiences that I think me and Samantha both shared is when we helped with some of the different hotel accommodations and also with some of the employee disaster relief fund that was solely offered to employees by Ochsner. A lot of organizations don't offer, a fund, emergency fund for employees. Ochsner was one of the ones that did. And there was a reason why. I'm sure as many people have seen all over the news, the devastation that Hurricane Ida had happened all over across the state, particularly in different parishes, Jefferson Parish to be particularly one. And we have a lot of employees that work in those different parishes. A lot of those employees were drastically impacted by those. I'm sure everybody here knows someone who lost completely everything in that storm. And being able to at least provide some sense of comfort, at least in that very moment, providing them some kind of housing and helping them get situated in a very confusing time was very kind of rewarding, especially kind of dealing with that tragedy. And so that was one of the biggest things most recently that we had to deal with. And like I said, that made me feel real good about coming to work every single day here at Ochsner and being able to utilize every skill that I have to help somebody desperately in need. Like I said, not just our patients, but also my fellow employees as well. So that was the most rewarding experiences that I had.
Well said. Well said. Sam, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll add to that. That was an excellent answer, and I agree. I mean, it just really makes a difference when you're working hard and you actually have people come up to you and say thank you. It really does mean a lot. And even patient wise, a lot of, you think about corporate human resources, you don't really think about actually touching, the people that you're making a difference with. And you really do. You really make a difference in the patient's lives and their experience, even if it's, like I think within my first week, I ran into somebody who was lost and helped them find the department they were going to. And I was just like, well, I don't know where I'm going either, but we'll find out together, And so that, that aspect of it is really rewarding to me.
Thank you for that. And I don't want to leave Ashley out. Ashley, I know it's been some time since you've been a fellow, but sure, share with us what do you think was some of the most rewarding times that you had during that experience?
So I would say that during my time, I was able to I actually I worked several hurricanes, but I worked hurricane my first few months at Ochsner as well, which I thought was an interesting parallel to these guys. So I think that was really rewarding for me to really understand what it takes to be able to take care of, to prepare a hospital for an event like that. It was very enlightening to see, and I think we've grown and done a much better job over the years. So we're more like a well-oiled machine today, but still that was very rewarding for me. And then just having the opportunity, honestly, to be part of the fellowship application process was really rewarding for me as well, because I got to see how not just as a fellow, how we treat ourselves, and then how we look at the organization. But really, when we're looking at potential applicants, really looking at how much time and effort that we take to really recruit and spend time and answer questions. That was a very rewarding part of my time as a fellow as well.
Thank you for sharing. This was fantastic. Let me tell each of you, thank you so much. As we close, thank you to the panelists for taking time out of your busy day to discuss the fellowship program. To the participants, if you are interested in applying for the fellowship program that will start next year, the deadline to apply is September 26th and is fastly approaching. Please go to our fellowship webpage to review the application requirements and submittal information for each concentration. Applications are being accepted through the fellowship email address only. Feel free to email our current fellows with additional questions. All emails are located on the fellowship website.